All right, man. Title of this class is the quiet foundation, the unseen work before the unseen things before it's ever seen. You seen that? Put that title up again. What is built before it is ever seen? What am I talking about here? That quiet foundation is things that you build in secret. How you build your foundation in secret when ain't nobody around? What is your foundation like? Is it gonna be for good or is it gonna be for evil? Let me get those. I got two pictures. Give me one of those pictures of the iceberg. All right. So this is what on the surface, right? We see somebody who's successful. That's the only part we see. If you know anything about an iceberg, underwater, it's bigger underwater. We don't see that part that's under the water. We only see what's on the surface. So we see somebody with, let's say, success. But what you don't see is the hard work, the persistence, the discipline, rejections, the courage, criticisms, all these things that are under the water that we do not see in a person. Let me get the next picture. Right. Same thing. What we see, look how much is under the water of a person that we don't see. A lot of times we don't see each other but once a week, right? May talk to each other once or twice a week. How many people talking to somebody in the body at least once a week? All praise. If you're not talking to somebody at least once a week, you need to start speaking to brothers once a week. If you don't have nobody's number, you need to be in Telegram trying to get somebody's number and to be speaking to somebody once a week. Because why? You have to build what's not. When you by yourself, you got to build what's not seen. Let's start off with Ecclesiastes 12 and 14. You know, we live in a world, like a generation where likes and views and, everybody wants to be credited for something, right? Everybody wants to be praised for something. That's the type of world we live in. Give me that. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 14.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
So whatever we doing in the secret, whether it be good or it be for evil, the Lord is going to bring it into judgment, right? So we have to be building those things which are for good in secret. When you at home, during the week, by yourself, you got to be building that foundation of good things. You got to have good attributes, study habits, speaking to your brothers and sisters, coming to the school on those days when it's open. We got the school open on Thursdays. If you're free on Thursday, come to the school. It's open to everybody. The holidays, we just had Thanksgiving. Brothers and sisters should be here. If you ain't working, you should be at the school on those days. We got what we got coming up. Christmas, that's coming up. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I'm sure everybody's gonna be off on those days. We should be coming to the school, building our foundations, right? Go to Matthew 6, verse 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
It said don't do them alms to be seen before men. Because why? We're not trying to be You're not here for me. You're not here for the captain. You're not here for Officer Kedon, Officer Jeremiah. You're here because the Lord brought you in here. And you always have to remember that I don't care how high you get up in this truth. You didn't come here for rank. You didn't know what rank was when you first walked in these doors, brothers. You don't know anything about rank. You just saw a purple shirt and you wanted to be in a purple shirt. You was thankful to be in here. Now as we go up, it's like, I want rank, I want position, I want to be seen to me, and I want people to see me, right? Of course, if somebody say, hey, you did a good job, brother, I appreciate that. That's a good thing. Isn't that wrong with that? But I'm not doing it for that reason, right? If somebody praises you, they praise you on their own, but you shouldn't be doing nothing for that alone. Read that verse again.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
Drop down to verse 6.
Verse 6. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret.
Did it say pray out loud in front of everybody?
pray to thy Father which is in secret.
So the things that you pray for is in secret. What are you praying for? What type of things are you asking the Lord for? Are you asking for wisdom? Are you asking to be surrounded by brothers and sisters whose heart is after yours? Are you asking to, Lord, remove this lust from me? Lord, remove this hatred from me? Are you asking for those things that are not seen to be removed or to help the Lord guide you in the right direction? Are you asking for those things in secret? Read.
And thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly.
Because we know, you think about that iceberg, right? One thing we know for sure, sometimes that ice cracks under the bottom and it floats up to the top. A little piece of that negativity that you got here, it'll break and it'll float right up to the top. And guess what? We see it. We're going to see it. You can't hide the wind, right? If you got hatred for a brother and you trying to hide it, it's going to be cracks in the armor. It's going to come out. You can't hide nothing from the Lord, right? So it's best to bring it out. Don't let your things that you got hidden control you. Because things that you hide, that's ultimately what it does. It controls you because you're trying to hide it, right? Just bring it out. Confess it. And then we're able to deal with it. Hey, guess what, brother? I deal with hatred. What's the best way for me to get over this? And we can deal with it. We know, but when you hide it and then those cracks start coming up to the surface, now we're like, okay, we see that. Play that, I got a video in there. Let's get to that video right quick.
You can't vouch for anybody because you don't know who people are behind closed doors. You don't. And two, anybody is capable of anything at any given moment in time if given the opportunity. You don't go from 0 to 100 overnight. When you're in a relationship or you're with around people who are like that, in the beginning, you don't see it, right? Everyone's got their best behavior. But over time, you'll start to see little, like sneak peeks, little previews. And it's those previews you want to pay attention to. We like to give people the benefit of the doubt. We listen to the excuses that they give us. And you know, there's this ancient Greek saying that says, don't listen to your opponent. Look at them. It will tell you everything. And when I say look at them, look at what people do. I need you to drum out what they're telling you. I need you to drum out their I am sorries, because they probably are. They've hurt you and they are probably genuinely sorry. The point is, when do you want to learn your lesson? In the beginning or at the end? And at the end, sometimes it's very, very, very hard.
That's pretty interesting right there. You know, sometimes, like I said, if you're trying to hide those negativities in you that's under the water, and those and you're not dealing with them, right? And those little icebergs starting to float up to the top, we pay attention to those little negativity nuggets that you drop in. We pay attention to them. Let's see if this brother is going to deal with this. Let's see how this brother is going to deal with being demoted, losing his rank. Let's see how this brother is going to deal with correction. Is this brother going to be emotional? Is he going to start backbiting? Let's see how he deal with it, because everybody has that in them. But what type of foundation are you building? When those type of thoughts come upon you, what are you doing about it? Are you counseling? Are you going to the scriptures? Or guess what? Are you calling a sister and start murmuring and backbiting? It's all the little things, the foundation that you build in the secret, because we're not around y'all 24 hours a day, so we don't know. Go to Matthew 6, go to 16 right quick.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Hey, the Lord said, look, when you fast, it should be a private thing. Now, we do a nationwide fast for everybody, but if you fasting during the week, it should be a private thing. You shouldn't come in here, and I'm not saying you can't tell nobody you fasting, right? But you should come in here and be like, look at me, I'm fasting. Look at me. You notice my lips are dry. You notice I haven't eaten all day because I am fasting. Like, you shouldn't be like that, because you're getting your reward right then. That's your reward right there, right? Read on.
But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast.
So it's saying, look, you shouldn't be appear to men that you fasting, because you are fasting and you are trying to what? Build that underneath foundation. You're trying to get rid of some of those negativity that's under the water, under the surface. You're trying to get rid of that stuff. Read on.
That thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father.
Because you're fasting and you're praying to the Father, right? Read.
But unto thy Father, which is in secret.
Which is in what?
Which is in secret. And thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly.
So now we can see it openly. Like, damn, that brother, he really has changed. Dang, this brother got some understanding now. This bro, it's something about this brother that's different. Say it again. Say it on the mic, Austin.
He losing weight.
That's a good point. Go ahead. Finish.
That's how you know, like, what I was just saying is very important, because most brothers and sisters would say, and I'm sorry, I don't know why I just always harp on this weight thing, but most brothers and sisters say they want to lose weight, but then you see them every week and they still look the same. Not only do they look the same, but they gaining weight week to week. So it's like your words are not lining up with what your actions are showing. So you can say you want to lose weight, but if you ain't putting in that effort, that means behind closed doors, you're not doing the things really to lose weight, because you're gaining weight.
Right. You got to have that discipline to be able to deny yourself food. And food and water. You got to be able to deny yourself. How can you build if you can't deny yourself that? That's where the discipline come in. You mean to tell me you can't stop eating for 24 hours? You can't stop drinking water for 24 hours out the day? One day a week? You got to check your spirit. If this is you have to start checking your spirit, right? Give me 2 Timothy 4, verse 3. 2 Timothy 4, verse 3.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
Because if you're not doing any of these things, if you're not working on that underneath issues that you have, that iceberg under the water that you have, that foundation, you're not going to endure sound doctrine. Because guess what? You're not going to be able to understand judgment when judgment come out. Why they had to put the sister out though? Why we can't just? You're not going to understand. Read on.
But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers.
Because you haven't checked those spirits. Now you're giving over to your own lust. And what else?
After their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears.
Guess what? Them teachers are gonna be telling everything. Your so-called friend is gonna be telling you, yeah, leadership ain't right. They ain't right. Officer Epstein got a big head, don't it? Guess what? You're gonna have them itchy ears because that's what you want to hear. Why y'all laughing? That's what you want to hear, because you did not fix the things that you needed to fix. You did not work. You didn't want to come to leadership and say, hey, I deal with this. I need to fix this. If y'all don't know by now, I like to talk about things that pertain to me, right? The classes that I do, I cut myself, because we all deal with issues, right? We all deal with things. There's nobody in here that ain't dealing with nothing, right? So we ask brothers every week, hey, what y'all dealing with, brother? Some brother like, I ain't got nothing going on. I was like, damn. I'm saying to myself, like, damn, brother, you in the kingdom, man. So what is like, bro? You ain't dealing with nothing. God, dog, you ain't go to work this week? I mean, we all deal with things, but are you willing to fix it? Even when we go through all the leaders in the Bible, they all had little issues and hangups. I mean, from King David, King Solomon. We was talking about this earlier. King Solomon, was the wisest man on the earth. The man could tell you about the planets. He could tell you about ants. He could tell you about anything. But guess what his hang-up was? Women. He still had a hang-up. King David had a hang-up. Right. Paul had hang-ups. But guess what? They confess their faults. They confess their faults. You have something to say? Oh, all right. Where am I at? Go to 1 Kings 19, verse 11, right? The Lord is not going to build in the midst of chaos, right? He ain't going to build nobody in the midst of chaos. 1 Kings 19, verse 11 and verse 12.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 11. And he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and break in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind.
So it said, read that part again. I had to get there, man. You faster than me. Read that again.
So, 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 11. And he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and break in pieces the rocks before the Lord.
So we got to think about how strong this wind was. We're talking about hurricane force wind, breaking rocks, right? Read. It said the Lord wasn't there, read.
But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake.
So he's standing there, the wind blowing. You think about if you're standing outside, the wind blowing, what we doing? We cover, we like, dang, you know what I'm saying? You don't even want to see. It's like the Lord wasn't there. Now it's an earthquake, read.
But the Lord was not in the earthquake.
It said now the Lord wasn't in the earthquake, read.
And after the earthquake, a fire.
So you had the wind, the earthquake, now it's a fire, read.
But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice.
Now after the fire, a still small voice, which goes back to Matthew. You going into your closet or your secret, praying in secret. A still small voice. Read that again.
And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice.
Right. The Lord is not gonna be in the midst of confusion, and he's not gonna be in the midst of chaos. Right? That's not gonna be of the Lord. Go to 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. Right? We think about the leaders. David had a field before he had a crown, right? Give me that. 1 Samuel 16, verse 7.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature.
Hold on, go up one verse. Let me look at it, hold on. 16, go up to verse 8. Wait a minute. Yeah, 8. Start at 8.
1 Samuel chapter.
Sorry, hold on. You said David had what?
David had a field before he had a crown.
Damn, that was heavy. He said David had a field before he had a crown. So what he's saying is David had small beginnings.
Right.
That's a heavy point.
That's it. He was faithful over something small, right? Before he got something big. Read that.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this.
So he got all his sons passing by, all these brothers who are statue. Read on.
Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel.
So 7 of his sons then passed before Samuel. Read.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord have not chosen these.
He said, nah, I ain't even think about it. David wasn't even around. He wasn't even, he was an afterthought. Read on.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children?
He had to ask him, wait a minute, bro. Is this all your kids? Read.
And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
So this is him, he keepeth the sheep. You think about the foundation it has to keep cattle or to keep sheep. You got to get up early in the morning, right? You got to feed them. You got to clean them. Well, you probably got to cut. I don't have a farm. You got to go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, so even with the sheep, you have to, like you say, clean them, feed them, also protect them from invaders. So like wolves, bears, lions, things of that nature. So it shows you David actually had the heart of a king in his low estate.
Right.
And God is showing Samuel through him choosing the sons. So very heavy point, officer.
Right, because he was faithful over very little at this time, right? You think about today, we give brothers what we say, clean the restroom, clean the bathroom, clean the kitchen, mop the those would be considered small jobs. But if you're faithful in that little bit of little job, the Lord will give you a bigger job, right? Read on.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he.
So that's him. David was an afterthought. He was faithful over the sheep, and the Lord said, that's who I want. That's him. He's the one to anoint. Let's go to Joseph, right? Before Joseph had authority in Egypt, guess where he was? In prison. Genesis 39. Sold into slavery, all that. Genesis 39. But what I'm showing y'all is the foundation of these brothers was built before they ever got the authority, right? They had already built the unseen things. Genesis 39, verse 20. Didn't make them, they still had hang-ups, but they had built these foundations. Genesis 39, verse 20 and 21.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39 and verse 20. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph.
But what?
But the Lord was with Joseph.
So it don't matter where you at. If you could be in jail, you could be in a hospital, guess what? The Lord is still going to be with you. So just because you ain't sitting at the leadership desk, or if you ain't a captain yet, or if you're not a deacon or a bishop yet, the Lord can still be with you, right? Even if you cleaning toilets, the Lord can be with you. Even if you got a herd of sheep, the Lord gonna be with you regardless. So we cannot minimize our authorities here, our small tasks, our small jobs that we have in the body. The Lord is still gonna be with you. Did you finish it out?
No, sir. Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
The Lord showed Joseph mercy because why? He had built that foundation, right? Was that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to Moses. Moses, before Moses confronted Pharaoh, he had 40 quiet years in the wilderness. 40 quiet, peaceful years. Go to Acts 7. What am I saying? Before Moses confronted Pharaoh, he was living peacefully. Acts 7, verse, I think it's 29. Let's see. Let's start at 22.
The book of Acts, chapter 7 and verse 22. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in words and in deeds.
Right.
And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel.
So Moses was living a good life at this point, right? Read on.
And seeing one of them suffered wrong, he defended him and avenged him that was oppressed.
So you gotta think, man, he living the good life in Egypt, but he's seeing one of his brothers being persecuted and suffer wrongly, right? Read.
And smote the Egyptian.
He smote the Egyptian. Read on.
For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, ye are brethren, why do ye wrong one to another? But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge over us? Wilt thou kill me as thou didst the Egyptian yesterday?
Here's the point.
Then fled Moses at his saying, and was a stranger in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons. And when 40 years were expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai.
So 40 years, That's when the angel appeared to Moses in the wilderness. He was 80 years old. 80 years old. So this is before he went to Pharaoh. But what foundation you think Moses had to see he living the good life, right? He come down, he see one of his brothers being abused and persecuted, being done wrongly, and he had, I'm gonna do something about it. What kind of foundation you think this brother had to do that? You think he had hatred, malice, envy? No, he had a good foundation he had built up for himself. He loved his people, right? Go to Zechariah 4 and 6.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 4 and verse 6. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord of hosts.
That's how we build that foundation. By the Lord's Spirit. What happened to us? Why are we like this? Why are we like this? And we always go back to the curses. Is like all roads lead back to the curses. When we look at the state of our people, or why we got hatred for each other, and why we have single parent households, it's because of the curses in Deuteronomy 28. Go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. Deuteronomy 28.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So all these curses going to come upon us because why? We didn't want to do what the Lord said. This is the formation of why we have broken households. Why some men, they don't want to grow up, right? We got grown, I don't want to say boys, but we got grown babies. That's even worse. We got grown babies sometimes that we got to coddle, take care of. Bro, it's time to grow up. It's time for us to grow up. Same thing with the sisters. Sisters, it's time for y'all sisters to start stepping up, right? I know the Alicia why I say that a lot. It's time for y'all to step up. Step up. It's time to grow. Look at what's going on in the world today. Chaos, turmoil, famine's gonna come. People get snatched off the street right now. ICE snatching them up. Then the people was like, "Hey, I'm an American citizen. I'm a citizen." They don't care. They was deporting veterans. People who had put the uniform on and fought for the country was getting deported back to their country. You think they care about what the Constitution say? What law, who you are, whether you got a driver's license? They don't care about none of that. They're going to snatch you up, get you up out of here. Go ahead, Austin.
And then just recently they shut down the school in France. So what if they decide to shut down IUIC Birmingham? You know, like what are y'all going to do then? What are we going to do? Have you built a relationship with people to where you can contact them and potentially gather together? Or are you that person that don't talk to nobody throughout the week? And when what's it called? SH? Yeah. What's the acronym? Sugar Honey Iced Tea. What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Because the school ain't gonna be here. So how you gonna gather? I think some of y'all may end up going back to the world at that time. You know, but what you do now is gonna determine what you do. How you practice is how you play. So if you practicing, you know what I'm saying, being a righteous individual, now when that time come, it's just going to be another obstacle you have to overcome. But if you're not practicing when that time comes, a lot of y'all going to fall by the wayside.
Right. A lot of us men, we grew up without our fathers, right? Fatherless. We don't have no guidance. Deuteronomy 28, verse 41.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
A lot of us grew up without our fathers, right? We didn't have any guidance. We have a lot of sisters in here who have sons. Guess what? We are the spiritual fathers up here, right? We are the ones to help guide when the father's not there. We the ones here. Isaiah 3 and 4.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 4. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them.
That's why we got a lot of emotional boys right now. Read.
And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable.
So them kids gonna be disrespectful as hell. Because why? It's no fathers. When there ain't no fathers, guess what? The correction disappears when there's no father in the house. There's no accountability when there's no father in the house. Examples of a righteous leader is removed when there is no fathers around, right? We have examples right here. We got great fathers in the body. We got great leaders in the body, right? So you young brothers in the back, if you don't have a father in your life, guess what? Your fathers are up here. Your fathers are up here. Your examples are up here, right? Use your examples that you have in front of you. Give me, go ahead.
And that go for, when he say up here, he's not just talking about up here. He's talking about out there too. Because there's some brothers in here that y'all in here right now, man, y'all don't realize that y'all example to these young prophets. So you be here for a period of time, maybe a month or a year or whatever, and they see you and they start to become familiar with you, and then you decide that you want to smoke weed or you want to commit fornication, and then you gone. So you have failed the little one. So each and every brother that's sitting in here right now and sister, y'all build a relationship with these people, and then y'all leave, and y'all are part of the reason why some of these kids don't succeed in this life. So he's not just speaking about us. He's speaking about each and every individual in this room right here.
That's
right
now. Sirach 30, verse 1. That's right. Everything you do affects somebody else, right? You know what I'm saying? If one of us go off, guess what? It's going to affect somebody else. I looked up to that brother. I did this to that brother. I used to talk to that brother all the time. But you notice when brothers go off and they leave and they don't have that foundation, we have a hard time remembering their names. Like this down like they erased off of the map. Like, oh yeah, so-and-so. Yeah, remember so-and-so? What's his name? We have a hard time remembering who you are. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him off to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end.
Mm-hmm.
He that chasteneth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance.
Right. So we getting on y'all young brothers, right? It's for us to have joy into you. When we pouring into y'all brothers, we don't just pour into y'all and talk to y'all brothers just because we ain't got nothing else to do. We really care. We really care about y'all. We really want y'all to win and succeed because we know how this world is out there. A lot of us came in the truth at, 20, 30s, 40s, and we got 30, 40 years of the world. If the world was so great, we would still be out there. If the clubs and all that stuff was great, we would still be out there. There ain't nothing out there. Read on.
Verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And
so think about when y'all young prophets, you got the videos of the young prophets. They going over different topics like Christmas and birthdays. Y'all young. I'm talking about the young men. That grieves the enemy because you supposed to be a statistic. You supposed to be prison to pipeline. I mean, what is it? School, prison, pipeline. You supposed to be out there with a Glock and the switches and robbing and killing. Exactly. That's supposed to be you. But when you in this Bible and you listening to your fathers and your elders, you grieveth the enemy. You know how powerful that is? For our young men to grieve the enemy? Because you ain't grieving the enemy's kids. You're grieving grown adults. You're grieving grown men. A kid. Read that part again.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is.
No, that was it. Go ahead.
Yeah, read that.
Verse 4. Though his father die.
So, though his father die or his father isn't present. Read.
Yet he is as though he were not dead.
Read.
For he have left one behind him that is like himself.
So that's the spirit of that father, that good father. If you are a good father, that means that you should leave an impression or an imprint on your child's life to the point where the things that you instilled in that son or that daughter, they actually carry it out as if you wasn't even gone. That's how much power you should have over your children, even beyond the grave, where you are so influential that they will always look at you as their superhero and live up to your name. 100%. So that's a very powerful thing.
Right. And those fathers, at their young age, that father is building those good attributes in their son, right? Started out as a little small ice cube, right? Little son of ice cube, a little ice cube, and then it started to grow. Let's look at the ice cube over there. Look at ice cube. So it started to grow. Once he's putting all those good attributes to his son, now guess what? He's going to have more good than bad. Not saying he's not going to have issues, but it's going to be way more good attributes than bad attributes, right? And he's still going to have hang-ups. Because why? Because the Bible said that we all got to deal with that, right? Proverbs 29:18.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Right. Where there is no vision is the people perish, right? You can be physically strong, but mentally weak. You ain't got no vision. People gonna perish. Think about our ancestors in the slave fields, where you don't think those they called them bucks. You don't think those brothers were big, strong? They probably was getting guarded by a couple of Edomites. They could have easily overtaken those Edomites in that plantation, right? 200-300 slaves. Come on, but they was mentally weak, right? Read that again.
Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Now, the Lord does have a vision for the nation of Israel, right? But as individuals, we're supposed to have visions for ourselves. But I think a lot of times, can you get 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 12?
Bring it up.
A lot of time, the reason we don't succeed in our visions is because of this right here. 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 12. 12. I said 12. Yeah.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves,
or do what?
Or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves.
So I think that's the issue a lot of us have in this truth, and there's nothing wrong with looking up to somebody and striving to be like that person, but the issue comes in about where when you look to the brother beside you and you like, man, this brother can pull precepts, he can do this, and you lose focus on the things that's really important in your life. You may be dealing with porn, or you may have a problem with not working or being a bum or just being lazy, but you want to pull precepts, and that's not the goal that you should be focusing on. So a lot of times the vision that you create for yourself, you have to stick to it and not look to the right or to the left, because when you start comparing yourself, then you start to fall by the wayside. You start to lose sight of the thing that's really important and that's really going to get you to the kingdom, because you envy the next brother and what he can do good. Instead of envying it, you should just ask, well, bro, how you remember these precepts like this, or how you knew to pull this, or how you got such a good household? Why it seems like your wife always so nice? If those are the things that you desire, you should ask and see how you can get that instead of envying that person and compare yourself to that person. That makes sense.
Right. That's part of building them good foundation. Iron sharpen iron. Deuteronomy 28 verse 37. Another bad attribute: identity confusion.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
So we don't know who we are, right? We don't know where you come from. Now you got a sense of identity confusion, right? Because you think you just an African American, a Negro, or whatever. Not nobody in here, because we know we Israelites. But some of us still act like niggas. Some of us still, with fringes on, still got to act like African Americans right here today, right? We still act like that. Hosea 4 and 6.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
And that goes into our identity confusion, because why? We got the knowledge. We got information right here in our hand, right? Literally on your phone. We can Google Christmas is evil. We can Google Jesus is white, man. Like we see this. Like, come on, bruh. We still up here arguing about the color of Christ. We still arguing about is Christmas pagan or not. We still gotta argue about Thanksgiving, Easter. You have a phone in your hand and you can Google it and see that it's pagan holidays. You can do it. But it said what? Our people are what?
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
They don't want the knowledge. They don't want it. I refuse to believe that you can look it up on your phone and see for yourself. They don't want the knowledge. They won't look it up. They want to perpetuate the cycle that was brought to them in Deuteronomy 28. You had something else? Oh, go ahead.
Back you up on that. Hey, they have something better than Google now. They got Gemini here talk to you. Read the whole thing.
They got Gemini.
This is what happened when old folk discover technology right here.
Wisdom of Solomon 5 verse 4.
Real quick, officer.
Oh, go ahead.
Before you move on.
Yes, sir.
Because what was that term you used?
Which one?
Identity confusion. Yes. I like that.
Yes.
So identity confusion, we gotta read it again because I think it went over the head when you brought it out. Go back to Proverbs 29 because what you went in Hosea went directly in line with Proverbs 29. Get that one more time. Proverbs 29:18.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
So that vision is the sight of the eyes unseen, meaning in your mind. So if you can control the perception of a people, you can control their outcome.
Damn.
Keep reading.
Damn,
but
hard.
this is the powerful thing about this scripture where it mentions vision. Read.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
You see how it says there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So the law is the vision. That's the only way we're able to see. Going back to Proverbs 6:23, it's that light that lights up the darkness of this world. It forces us to identify, one, who are we? What is our purpose? And it shows us how to identify good from evil. I mean, hey, officer, that was heavy, bro.
All praise. James 1 and 5.
Chapter 1 and verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God.
It said if you lack wisdom, ask God. How you ask God? Exactly. Secretly in your prayers, right? Read.
That giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
So are we asking for wisdom when we pray? Something to think about. Something to think about. If you're not asking for it, you need to start asking for wisdom, right? Go to verse 7.
Verse 7. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. Start at verse 6.
Read verse, start at 6. I'm sorry.
Verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
So it said, let him ask in faith, meaning you got to be believing in the doctrine that you learn. Asking in faith, right? Now, they ain't saying ask for wisdom and then you don't never read nothing. You spend your leisure time watching porn and you asking, hey, Lord, give me wisdom. And then you go back to watching porn. Like that, no, that's not going to get it. Read on.
For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
If that's you, don't think you're going to get anything from the Lord. Read.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
It said the double-minded man is unstable, meaning, you asking the Lord for wisdom, but at the same time, you ain't doing nothing on your end to get the wisdom. You ain't doing no reading, you doing no studying, you ain't asking no questions. You just watching porn, following, you ain't never been to school. You are not performing the actions. Go ahead, officer.
Yeah, the action part, or maybe you say you want wisdom, right? But then an opportunity comes for you to go on a blitz, or we got a captain at the school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't take advantage of those opportunities, because sometimes the wisdom that you're asking for, it ain't gonna just fall out the sky to you. It's gonna come through some type of action that you gotta put forth. But if you're not putting yourself in a position to even receive the wisdom, you can't expect to get the wisdom. That's why you say a double-minded man is unstable in his ways, because he's not, although he's asking for it, he's not gonna put himself in a position to receive that what he's asking for, or she.
Real quick, I got a precept to that to double down on what both officers said. First, Sirach 1:26. You got this? So, okay, all praise. So I ain't stepping on no toes.
Step on them.
All right, read that real quick.
The book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 26. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments.
Because wisdom is the application of God's commandments. That's what wisdom is. Read.
And
So,
the
wait.
Lord.
So it's funny. If you desire it, it should be in your actions to obtain what you're desiring. It's that simple. So if you desire the wisdom of God, what must you do? Keep his commandments. It's that simple. Keep reading.
And the Lord shall give her unto thee.
He's going to give wisdom unto you, meaning the deep understanding of the law as well as to what measure to perform it. Read.
For the fear of the Lord is wisdom and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight.
Read on.
Distrust not the fear of the Lord when thou art poor.
So don't distrust in the fear of the Lord when you're brought to a lower state. Going back to what you mentioned about David being, he was in a field, but he was made a king from a field. So even in your lower state, that's really where you level up. That's actually how God works. Sometimes you have to power down and level up. We don't understand that yet. We think because you're in a lower state, no, that's where all the temptation's gonna come. That's where all the evil's gonna come to you. And then that's where you show your grit. That's where you show your wisdom of God. Read.
And come not unto him with a double heart.
What is this double heart though? Keep reading.
Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men.
That's a double-minded man. That's a double heart. Being a hypocrite. Like Officer mentioned, you praying for wisdom, but you don't have enough wisdom to apply. What is that? Job 31:1. You watching porn, but Job 31:1 say, "Look not upon a maid." So when is the wisdom or the application of God's law going to then reign in you versus the sin? Finish that out.
Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest.
Because you say a lot of good stuff, but when it comes to them actions, we know who you really are. If you're the son of God or the son of Satan. Daughters too. But go ahead, Alice.
All praise. All right. Mental instability. Deuteronomy 28:28. Some of y'all brothers crazy, man. Let's be real with you. Some of y'all sisters too. Deuteronomy 28.
The book of Deuteronomy.
It's okay, because, hey, if you stay around, if you're crazy, stay around, you're going to get right. Lord's will. You're in the right place. You're in the hospital. So it's okay for a little tinky winky crazy, all right? The Lord, yeah, exactly. Say that on the mic.
You have to confess that, yes, I'm crazy and I have a problem. If you don't do that, you will always be crazy and have multiple problems. All right? Yeah, all praises.
Yes, almost. I think also Jeremiah had something, but all right, Deuteronomy 28:28.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So what this saying is, even if we got crazy people, the Lord said we're going to have crazy people amongst us, right? So we're not making fun of you crazy. We're just saying we know we got crazy brothers and sisters. Read on.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Mm-hmm. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. And no man shall save thee.
Jump to Isaiah 59, verse 7. It's going to say the same thing. It's precept.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 59 and verse 7. Their feet run to evil.
Start at 6.
Verse 6. Their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity.
That's those bad works. That's what's on the iceberg, right? Those are your bad attributes, right? Read on.
And the act of violence is in their hands.
Uh-huh.
Their feet run to evil,
Uh-huh.
and they make haste to shed innocent blood.
Mm-hmm.
Their thoughts are the thoughts of iniquity, wasting,
If you hate your brother, that's shedding innocent blood. Read on.
wasting and destruction are in their paths.
Uh-huh.
The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore is judgment far from us, neither doth justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity.
We wait for the light. We wait for counsel. We wait for things to change in our life, but it's obscure, right? Because why? Why? You got all these evil, wicked things that you ain't dealt with. Read on.
For brightness, but we walk in darkness.
Mm-hmm.
We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men.
No, that's all I want. I just want to say this, saying the exact same thing. Go to 2nd Ezra 14, 13.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Real quick, officer. Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Before you move too far, read verse 9 again.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah 59, verse 9.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 59 and verse 9. Therefore is judgment far from us, neither does justice overtake us.
Read.
We wait for the light.
So we wait for light. That's that structure, the commandments. That's what we're supposed to be waiting on. But read.
But behold obscurity.
Obscurity meaning the vision is skewed. It's not clear. Read.
For brightness, but we walk in darkness.
So the darkness is the sin. So you cannot leave one place in the midst of your sin. You did not change anything. Go to another place and think that you're going to be fruitful.
Right.
It don't work that way. So you can't just up and leave and say, hey, I'm going to go to the place of light. Darkness is going to follow you.
Yep.
That's the point. All right, go ahead, officer. Yeah, that heavy scriptures.
Hey, in that madness, it brings impulsive decisions, emotional reactions, and avoidance of responsibility. That's what that madness is going to bring, right? Think about the decisions that we make when we don't get counsel. We say, I'm going to move. You ain't told nobody. I'm moving. I'm packing up my whole family, and we moving to Minnesota. What? You ain't talked to the other school. You ain't talked to the leaders here. Where you going to live at? You got a job up there. We don't know. It's nothing. We don't know nothing. Emotional reaction. Then when we tell you that you're wrong, guess what happened? Emotion. You get more emotional. And then you don't have, what you say, also? Yeah, you're going to run to the Somalians. And then there is the avoidance of accountability. That is part of being madness. When we tell you that, hey, you got to hold yourself accountable, you avoid it. You don't want to answer the calls no more. You ain't answer. We'll call a brother 10 times, phone off, because you avoiding that accountability that comes. That's madness. That is total madness. Brother against brother. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. Still dealing with some of the bad things, right?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 54. So that a man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of the children which he shall leave.
Read that one more time.
So that a man that is tender among you and very delicate,
he very emotional,
his eye shall be evil towards his brother.
He gonna hate his brother. He gonna hate him. And read on.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
He gonna hate his wife. That's another thing. How the things that we do in secret, how are you dealing with your wife at home? Because we know it's gonna be trouble in the flesh, right? Just get that. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, officer.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
hey,
bro.
man,
You pulling some bangers right now.
Go ahead,
bro.
man.
Dang. All right. So going back to what you were talking about, the tiers of the iceberg, right? Start at verse 52 because this is going to tell you what type of iceberg you are. Read that.
Verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
So the he, of course, is the enemy, Esau, Idumea, Edom. He's going to besiege you at the gate. Read.
Until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Read on.
Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land.
So some of us trust in the riches that we build in this life versus God's law. But Esau's going to besiege that. Read.
And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God have given thee.
Now, in the midst of this besieging or this turmoil that's going on, this is where the real people are manifest. This is where the children of God are manifest. This is where the children of Satan are manifest. Read on.
And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God have given thee in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall disgrace thee.
So some of us was drawn into cannibalism because of this evil siege. But read on.
So that a man that is tender among you and very delicate.
So that man that is tender among us and very delicate, that goes into your leaders. That goes into men of renown or men with respect. If you keep reading down, it goes into women that are tender and delicate among you. Those goes into the leadership wives. So when this evil happens, we're going to see how you act if you really a son of God or a son of Satan. Finish it out.
His eye shall be evil towards his brother.
So you're a son of Satan once the distress comes. Now you're acting out of the spirit of what God told you. Now you're hating your brother for having prepared. Now you're hating your sister having prepared their household and got their things together. Instead of helping one another, now it's envy. Read.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
Read on.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
So that hatred even stems down to the whole household. But it's only manifest when things get bad. All right? That tribulation.
All praises. We're going to speed up a little bit because I ain't got too much time. I'm still on the bad stuff. I got to get to the good stuff, right? Give me 1 Corinthians 7. I have 7:28. When the brotherhood break down, you know what's left? It's competition. Now I'm competing against this brother because we ain't got the brotherhood. I don't see him as somebody I can build with. I don't see a sister who I can build with. Now we competing against each other. That's not what we want. That's not of God. We shouldn't be competing against each other, right? Then it's come isolation. Now you compete. Now you isolated. 1v1. 1v1. Give me that 7 verse 28.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 28. But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh.
So every marriage is going to have a trouble in the flesh. Those things that you do in secret, how you deal with your wife when you got trouble in the flesh? Are you throwing stuff at your wife? Are you know what I'm saying? You give your wife $5, say, hey, make it work. Go to the store. I want a steak and mashed potatoes. Here's $5 and make it work. Are you doing that? Are you aligned in the house? These are the things that we don't see. We may hear about them later, but we don't see these type of things. And how you dealing? How you moving around, right? Because we all got trouble in the flesh. You got some? Oh, all right. Let me speed up. Deuteronomy 30 verse 6, right? So before we can build, we gotta start cutting some of that negativity out. We gotta start cutting some of them bad attributes away from underneath the surface. 30 and 6. Deuteronomy 30 verse 6.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 6. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
That you may what?
That thou mayest live.
Read it one more time, sir.
Verse 6, and the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart.
He gonna cut out my read.
And the heart of thy seed,
Uh-huh.
to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thine soul, that thou mayest live.
So we got to start cutting so we can start living, so we can replace some of them negative attributes with good ones. Right? That's what we want. Jeremiah 4:4. Because God said that's how we start living. When we start giving that brotherly love, that sisterly love, right? When we stop looking at our brothers with an evil eye, put away that murmuring, now we are starting to live. Jeremiah 4:4.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 4. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord and take away the foreskins of your heart.
Take away the what?
The foreskins of your heart.
I don't think that don't hurt, do it? Did they take away the foreskin of your heart? Did that hurt? I don't think that hurt.
It depends.
It depends. It depends.
But some people got some things they've been holding on to for a long time that they don't want to let go.
That is right there. That is. You got to let it go. You got to let that childishness go, that pride go, that excuses go, the fear. You got to let it go. It shouldn't hurt, but it may hurt some of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because it's what? It's comfortable to us, right? Sirach 2:1. All right, we get into the good stuff, y'all. I'm sorry. We moving.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
And that's the point. We got to constantly endure. We got to constantly chip away. We got to constantly fight. We got to constantly keep going. Keep fighting. If you're afraid, it's a saying that we say, start to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Start to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right? We come up here holding the mic, got the camera on, we teaching. It may not be the most comfortable situation for everybody, right? But we have to learn to be comfortable in these situations. Even when we go on the streets and we teach it, we got scoffers. It could be, we got Christians. It could be intimidating. But guess what? We have to be fearless. We have to be bold. We got to stand up there and say, look, I know more than you. I ain't been in truth but 2 years, 3 years. You've been a pastor for 30 years. How you don't know Christ is black? How you don't know you're an Israelite? How you don't know when the Sabbath day is? We know that. That's more than 99.9% of pastors know right now today. Just that. Just stick to that. We don't have to get into the other stuff. Just stick to that right there. We have to be bold, right? Hebrews 12 and 11.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 11. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit
That's what we want. We want that chastening for we can yield. What you said, officer, you have to power down. Sometimes we have to power down for we can power up, right? Read that again.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Right. So we have to get ready to yield that peaceable fruit. The quiet, I had to write this down. The quiet foundation is the unseen work we do before it's ever seen. Guess what? You got private obedience, discipline, restraint, consistency that determines whether a man stands or collapses. Right? I'm going to read it again. The quiet foundation is the unseen work we do before it's ever seen. Private obedience, discipline, restraint, consistency that determines whether a man will stand or fall. So whatever you build in private is going to determine in the open whether you're going to stand or fall. That's how we going to know. When you go through your chastisement, when you get set down or whatever you got going on, whatever you have built in private, we're going to know in public, whatever it is, good or bad, we're going to know.
it's not an unfamiliar trait. It's not as unfamiliar as it may seem, because how many of y'all been to college in here? Some of y'all been to college. How many of y'all picked up a skill that took time to learn, maybe trading, or some of y'all do real estate? You know, in order to reach those feats or accomplish those things, you had to put in, even when you didn't feel like doing it, you had to do it. You know what I'm saying? You had to be disciplined. What it was you said? Private obedience. You had to be disciplined.
Restraint.
You had to have restraint. Maybe you wanted to go out to eat. You like, no, I can't go out to eat. I need to study. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to things that we want to do, we have no question about it. But when it comes to the changes that we have to make in order to get the kingdom, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yes, sir. It's something we will say too, man. You know, when it comes to your soul, you gotta be selfish with your soul, right? You know what I'm saying? If you know you gotta do something, if you know that you battle, let's say you battle lust real bad or whatever you deal with, right? We going on a blitz to a college. They say, hey, look, if you deal with this, bro, you might want to stay back. You have to be able to be comfortable and say, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out. That shows strength. It ain't weakness, because you understand what you deal with and you're willing to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out. I deal with lust bad. I'm burning. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with all these sisters out here half naked.
Even when it comes to drinking, you know, whatever habit that you're trying to stray away from. If you have a friend that likes to do things that you know you don't need to do, maybe you need to change your friend group. Because when you're around them, they tend to do this, and you know you struggle with that. So why are you hanging with this person if you're trying to get away from that behavior? Get Sirach 13 and verse 1. I'm sorry. I think that's it. 13 and 1. Yep. Just to go along with that point.
Sirach chapter 13 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
He that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith.
So pitch is like tar. If you touch it, there's no way it's not going to be on your hand. It's impossible. Go ahead.
And he that have fellowship with a proud man.
With a prideful man or a loud woman or whatever attribute you want to put within there. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to get away from that behavior, if you have fellowship with that person, go ahead.
Shall be like unto him.
You're going to be tied to that person. I remember a particular situation. I used to be real cool with a brother, and the brother ended up leaving, and I was associated with him because we were cool. I didn't have the same attributes as him. Maybe I did, but I was included with his behavior because he was my friend. So I had to learn to separate from that, and from that point on, I know Cap told me, he said, man, you got to stop hanging around this brother. He said, get your head out his behind. I said, damn, my head in it behind? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He told me that. I was like, okay, maybe that's the case. And I had to realize, you know what I'm saying, the issues that I had and why I looked up to that person and separate myself from him.
All praises. I'm gonna jump a little bit, y'all. But y'all can write those down. Short on time. Private battles won. Let me get 1 Samuel 17, verse 34. Sometimes you got to win those private battles, right? You ain't got to let everybody know you won a battle. Sometimes you're going to lose battles. But sometimes you're going to win some too, right? Read that. Win some, you lose some, but don't what? But you live to fight another day. 1 Samuel 17, 34 through 37. Start at 33.
1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 33. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
So Saul telling David, man, you can't, bro. You a youth. Read on. You young. You can't fight against this Philistine. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock.
Hey, so he's telling Saul of a battle that he won privately, right? He said, I kept my father's sheep, and a lion and a bear came and took one of the lamb. Read. And
I went after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth.
So think about this, bro. A lion take a sheep and a bear. He said, I went after him and I took it out of his mouth. Right? Read on, because I don't know if I could have did that. I know, with my bare hand. Read on.
And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear.
So this a kid say he slew a lion and a bear. Read.
And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them.
He said, yo, this Philistine ain't gonna be nothing. I killed a lion and a bear. This Philistine, that's light work for me. It's light work. Read.
Seeing he have defied the armies of the living God.
Because why? David had those good attributes. He had those good foundations. He had confidence in himself. Like, hey, bro, look, this ain't nothing. I did X, Y, Z. Not to boast, but he won. That's a private battle that he won, right? Wasn't nobody around when he did that. He was saying, look, I could do this, right? Let's get the video. Give me that video. That video of King David. Oh, you had something before I go to this video? Go ahead.
And I'm gonna say this because a lot of time we're hard on ourselves. Like we don't even acknowledge when we do things that are good. Real quick, get Sirach 14 and verse 5, because in order for David to even say that he did those things, he had to admit it. You know what I'm saying? He had to understand that, okay, this is a good thing that I did when I was tending to my father's sheep. I went and killed the lion and the bear that tried to threaten my shepherd. Go ahead, Sirach 14.
The book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
Uh-huh.
He shall not take pleasure in his good.
So if you can't notice the progress that you made from over a year or 2 years or whatever, you can't expect to treat anybody better than you treat yourself. So sometimes you got to acknowledge the good that you do and don't be so hard on yourself. A lot of times we treat other people better than we treat ourselves. So sometimes, like Deke say, you got to clap your hands for yourself,
Hey, I was just relaying this to Officer. Every time I read this, I think about Rocky 3, where he went up against the Russian Drago. And you remember how they was training. Drago was using all the state-of-the-art gyms and machines and medicine, right, to get strong. But then Rocky was training unconventionally, outside in the cold, lifting up rocks, water. So it's funny how Saul is saying that Goliath was training up as a youth. But through David's account of the bear and the lion, he said that the Lord was training me as a youth to be a mighty warrior. Before I ain't even have to pick up a sword, and the Lord was training me to be a warrior. So, hey, y'all in the right place. I'll praise the Most High.
All praise. Go to Sirach 3 and verse 15.
The book of Sirach, chapter 3, what verse you said?
15.
Verse 15. And the day of thine affliction, it shall be remembered. Thy sins also shall melt away.
They're going to do what?
Thy sins also shall melt away.
That ice is going to melt away. Read.
As the ice.
As the what?
As the ice.
As the ice. Read on.
In the fair, warm weather.
As the warm weather. All those bad attributes is going to melt away. All praise. Go to, get the video right quick.
When David was king, there was a band of warriors whose names were whispered in awe. David's mighty men. These men weren't just soldiers. They were legends, bound by loyalty and the power of Yahweh. Their exploits were the stuff of tales that stirred the hearts of Israel. First among them was Josheb-Basshebeth, also known as Adinah. In a fierce battle, the Philistines charged, outnumbering Israel's forces by hundreds. But Josheb, armed with only his spear, faced them alone. With a roar, he plunged into the enemy, his spear cutting through the air like a flash of lightning. He killed 800 men in a single fight, his arm moving like a whirlwind, unstoppable. Then there was Eleazar, son of Dodai. He stood alongside David when the Philistines gathered for war. The battle was fierce, and the Israelites began to retreat, but not Eleazar. He stood firm, his sword gleaming, and fought until his hand froze to the hilt. Philistines fell at his feet, one after another, until the ground was soaked with their blood. By the end of the day, Eleazar had fought so fiercely that his hand had to be pried from his sword, and the Israelites returned only to gather the spoils of his victory. But the stories didn't end there. Shammah, son of Agi, found himself alone in a field of lentils as the Philistines descended. Everyone else fled in fear, but Shammah didn't move. With steely determination, he gripped his spear and stood his ground. As the Philistines charged, he cut them down one by one until the entire enemy force turned and fled before him. The field was his, and Israel was saved by his hand. One of the most daring moments came when David, thirsty and longing for the waters of Bethlehem, sighed, "Oh, that someone would get me a drink from the well near the gate." The city, however, was held by the Philistines. Without hesitation, 3 of David's mightiest men broke through enemy lines, their swords flashing as they fought their way through the Philistine ranks. They reached the well, drew water, and fought their way back, the clash of metal echoing across the valley. They presented the water to David.
Now, some of those brothers was named, right? They named some of them. You got the 3 brothers. King David said, "Man, I just want some water." 3 brothers, they didn't name them. 3 brothers went through a whole army just to get David a cup of water. Just to give him a cup of water. Brought it back fought their way back. David poured it out. Poured it out in honor of them. Bruh, come on, man. Can I get a water? Somebody? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead and play the video. Go ahead and play the video.
But in a display of honor,
just back it up. It ain't turtle water either.
the valley. They presented the water to David, but in a display of honor, he poured it out, saying, "This is the blood of men who risked their lives for me." Among these warriors was Abishai, Joab's brother. In one battle, he raised his spear and took down 300 men, his ferocity like a storm on the battlefield. His bravery earned him a position as commander of the 3, and his name was feared by enemies across the land. Then there was Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, whose feats were unmatched. On a snowy day, he went down into a pit to face a lion. With nothing but his bare hands, he killed the beast, wrestling it down and emerging victorious. But Benaiah wasn't done. He once faced a towering Egyptian warrior, armed with only a club. The Egyptian charged with a massive spear, but Benaiah snatched the spear from his hands and killed him with his own weapon. His reputation spread far and wide, and David made him the captain of his personal bodyguard. The mighty men weren't just soldiers. They were legends, their names passed down in the songs of Israel. They faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, time and time again, their courage unmatched and their loyalty unbreakable. Each one of them fought not just for David, but for Yahweh and for the future of Israel. Their exploits lit a...
All praises, man. Hey, that's how you inspire a nation. That's how you inspire a nation, with good attributes, right? Give me Proverbs 22 and 29. Not saying we gonna be like that, not now. But in the kingdom, guess what? It said the feeble among you gonna be as mighty as David. Think about Old Man River. Old Man River gonna be fighting like David. That's right. All praise. Read that.
Call the verse again.
Proverbs 22:29.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business?
We see men all the time that are diligent in their business. We got one of the mightiest captains in Israel right here. Diligent in his business. That's right. Clap your hand. That's right. Clap it up. Captain Yadin, Big Jud. Read that again.
Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men.
It said he gonna stand before kings, so it make it my business to stand next to that man that's about his business. It should be your business to stand next to that man who's about his business.
How many of y'all want to stand next to kings? I guess none of them.
I don't think nobody him.
Yeah, they just like
yeah. No.
How many of y'all want to stand next to kings? Yeah. All right, then y'all got to make sure y'all doing the work to stand next to kings.
How many of y'all want to stand next to the sisters?
They lying awful. They
At
lying.
home.
Now everybody
At
ain't gonna be
home.
a mighty man. Now somebody gotta
Protect.
gotta protect. Huh? Oh, the brothers in the red. No,
Yeah.
Pay off. They say depending on what you mean by standing next to them. What you mean? Within what country?
Oh my God. Oh man. All right. Attributes that we must have to grow, right? Courage, endurance, loyalty, discipline, and brotherhood, right? Courage, give me 2 Maccabees 7, verse 2. I'm gonna run through these real quick. We'll get a break.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 2. But one of them that spoke first said thus, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die.
We are ready to what?
We are ready to die.
That's what we just watched on the screen. Brothers who was ready to die, sacrifice, give it all for their country, for their nation, for the Lord, right? They was ready to die. Read.
Rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers.
And that's the courage that we got to have, because it's going to get to that point where we can't go on the streets and teach, or you're going to get put in jail. You're going to get put in jail, or you're going to be killed. Some of us are going to get killed. Some of us are going to get killed. That's the courage that we got to have. Endurance. Hebrews 12 and 11. Is that what I want? Yeah, let me read that. No. Let's see if that's the one I want. I think I already used that scripture. No, I already used that. Give me Sirach 2 and 4.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
That's what officers was saying. Sometimes you got to power down and power up, right? When you get chastised, you change to that lower state. The Lord said, be patient. Be patient, bro. Chill, relax. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing but some rank. Be thankful that you in the building. It's brothers and sisters that are outside that used to be in the building begging to come back into the building. Be thankful that you got a seat, whether you're sitting in the front or you're sitting in the back, you're sitting in the middle, you in the building, sucking up all the good air, right? Be thankful, right? In having endurance, loyalty. 1 Maccabees 2 and 50, right? 1 Maccabees 2 and 50. Let's give some sisters some love.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law.
So this sister, right, she talking to her sons. She's saying what?
Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
I'm sorry. Read on.
Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
Read that again. Hey, the wrong scripture, but read that. I'll take that one.
Verse 51. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
So we got to have that loyalty. That way we get that honor. Loyalty was, you gotta think about the mighty men, right? That's one attribute all of them had. They was all loyal to King David. They was loyal. They came to King David before he was a king, right? They came to King David when he was in the cave. 400 men came unto him, right? He was already a leader before he got the crown, right? Give me Proverbs 27 and 17. Brotherhood.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron.
That's the brotherhood that we got to have. That's how we build those good attributes. Iron sharpening iron. Stop having hatred and envy for brothers. Like also was saying, hey, how did you get here? How did you learn these precepts? How did you study? What do you do to do X, Y, Z? The brotherhood has to be tight. The unity has to be tight amongst brothers. We got to be willing to build up brothers. And guess what? You got to be okay if a brother surpassed you. You got to be okay with that, because it's of the Lord. It's all of the Lord. Like you may bring, it's brothers who have, who have people have brought brothers in, and them brothers have jumped over them in this truth. That's okay. We should be okay with that, right? Say it again on the mic, Mike.
It's not a race, it's a marathon. So again, it go back to the point to where if you looking at this brother because he came in before or after you and he surpassed you, you comparing yourself to him and you're not really focused on the things you need to fix in your life that's gonna get you to where you're trying to go. Because you can get the rank and still be a nigga with rank. You know what I'm saying? Then you just gonna destroy other people. So don't look to the man beside you and wonder why he where he at. You need to be looking inside of you and figuring out what you need to do to be where the Lord wants you to be at.
All praise. Give me Lamentations 3:40. 3:40. We're about done, y'all. You gotta have commitment. Have commitment.
Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 40. Let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Lord.
So we got to search and try our ways, but you have to be honest about what your ways are. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what your ways are. You have to be honest about that. And the only way we can do it, read it again, you have to search. Read on. Read it again.
Let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Lord.
And we got to turn to the Lord. Got something?
Yeah, I remember we was in the back one Sabbath, and Captain Shemaiah brought up a point to where he said, like, sometime you will pray for the Lord to show you some things. And a lot of times we think that it's going to just fall into our mind, but a lot of times the Lord will use people around you to show you where you err or what you need to be doing, but you will reject that because it's coming from somebody else. So you can't pray for something and then you got to look for it on all fronts. Sometimes you may come in here and brothers say you got the devil on you. Well, maybe that's what you prayed for, somebody to identify that spirit within you. Now, the bigger question is, are you going to accept it and fix it, or are you going to make an excuse? Man, I ain't got the devil on me, you know what I'm saying, and justify yourself. Because if you do that, you ain't going to be here too long.
Right. Got to be honest with yourself. I wrote this down. What you refuse to build in private will embarrass you in public. What you refuse to build in private will embarrass you in public. Psalms 51, verse 10.
The book of Psalms, chapter 50.
Even your kids will embarrass you. They'll be jumping off the leadership table like, you do nothing with them kids at the house. Read.
Psalms chapter 51 and verse 10. Create in me a clean heart.
So when we ask the Lord, like, hey, Lord, increase my faith. What are you asking for? You asking for trials. You asking for persecution. Because that's how the Lord, it just don't happen. The Lord is like, hey, faith increase. No, you got to go through things. You got to be tried in the fire for the Lord can increase your faith. Let me see. Let me give him a little tribulation and see how his faith is. Let me make him sweat a little bit. Let me turn the heat up a little bit. That's how your faith get increased, right? If you ask the Lord for patience, you just don't wake up the next morning like, I'm patient. I'm patient, downloaded in my cervix. No, you're going to be put in situations to be patient. You're going to be put in those situations where, you know what? Dang, I'm just going to be quiet, be patient, take a deep breath. Be patient. Thank you, Lord. You gave me that patience. That time. Because it could be a time where that's one battle you could have won, right? All right, so read that again.
Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me.
So that's what we should be praying for and asking for a right spirit in me, all right?
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.